Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I'm making hamburger Brennan, and it's going to be served with a sauce called sauce Maison, and I'm going to be serving mine with baked potatoes and salad today. I might make a garlicky vinaigrette today. I'm not sure. Now they do not, and they're very specific on what kind of ground meat you need here. You cannot substitute this one for this one recipe because of the way it's prepared. So we need 2 pounds of ground chuck. Yeah, you never see me buy chuck, right? Well, I did. This is just a hair over 2 pounds. So the ratio that you want is 80% lean and 20% fat, and that will give you your chuck. So read those percentages so you have an idea. Other than that, you'll probably end up messing this up. And this recipe comes from Chef Michael Roussel. I don't always tell you the chefs, but this was his. Now, if you have a grill and you like grilling in the dead of winter or autumn, this will be perfect for you. Because you can broil this or you can grill it either way, but when you do it, it'll be interesting how it comes out. All right, we are going to need 1/4 of a cup of minced. Now see, remember when they showed you the package and they call these green onions? But this recipe calls them scallions. This is why the terminology is changing in these old cookbooks. If you like trying these old recipes, you have to go back to the old terminology. America is trying to make a say that this is our country and our talking, and they're trying to change the words that we've been using for a long time that came out of Europe. Just like what Fanny did. We were using the metric system and she wanted to separate us from Europe, make some final clips from it, from Europe, and she changed from the metric system. She changed it all the way over to us using measuring cups. She figured out how to do it. She started a school and changed everything around, which now gives people a lot of problems. I've heard people say, I'd love to make some of these old recipes, but I can't understand them. That's why I sit there and I teach you the old ways, so in case you have these cookbooks, or you have your grandmother's or great-grandmother's recipes, and you don't understand what she's saying, this will help you to get that understanding. I don't mind going through it to help you, because I think it's beautiful when you share recipes like that from the past. This thing is loaded with dirt. Okay. Now let me get it off my cutting board. So as we go through all of this, I will tell you temperatures and stuff as we go through. So if you see a recipe that says for scallions, for the people who are just using new cookbooks, it literally means you're going to be using scallions in place of the green onions, because they changed the name. So you think you're changing the recipe, you're not. They're just changing the name to make it more confusing. So we'll take these scallions and we will thin slice them. And don't worry, I've had to look up some of these new words because I said, what are they talking about? Oh, I know what they want. It's like throwing everything that Julia Child taught right out the door. You know. Or James Beard. 1/4 of a cup of this chopped, minced. So I'll cut them in a ring and then I'll mince them. When you mince, you'll get more than just slicing it, because right now it looks like I've got a good amount, but when I start really chopping it fine, you'll see that it gets smaller. I've seen women with cookbooks. They had I thought I was bad. I mean, they put me to shame. I don't have enough cookbooks yet. Even catch up with them. They just buy every book that comes out. And they look at the pictures and they think they're lovely dishes, but they never cook them. And I say, why bother collecting them? You're not going to put them to use. Now, if you're under stress, I can understand that, because when my husband really was getting bad, I couldn't even function in the kitchen. It was really hard. He said he couldn't have this, he couldn't have that, he couldn't have this, he couldn't have that. And I said, why don't you just tell him to starve to death, you know? Oh, he can eat what he wants. So I tell you what I know and what I lost thinking and believing in medicine. I've seen good people, doctors doing, say we're going to take a biopsy and see what this is. Put a hole in a lump, and it's cancerous, and they open the door for it to spread all over the body. Take it out, and then examine it, you know? Don't examine it while it's in my body. I have weird ideas. And now I'm finding out people who go through chemotherapy, they actually when they die, they die because the organ was damaged by chemotherapy. Radiation gives it to you, and what do you think chemotherapy is? It's radiation. Just like I talk about chemicals, and I said, well, if you took your trash and stuff and you put it out, just left it in a warm place at 98.6. You know, the chemicals in the food and stuff, and mix it with food and stuff and leave it out for about 50 years. You see what it'd be doing to the inside of your colon and what it does to your body. See, they lie to people. I hate that. 1/4 of a cup of minced onion. 1/4 of a cup is approximately. Are scallions onions? Yes, they are. Each onion is a little sweeter or more bitter or this or that. That's why they give you different onions according to the flavor that they want you to have. I'm hoping to do a live today for those of you who'd like to know what we're having. I give everything away free right now. Look, they're already chopped. Oh, that's about over the top. I think we're done chopping. Oh yeah, it's time for me to... Oh, not yet. One more. How much parsley do you want? A tablespoon of freshly chopped parsley. Okay. You're gonna say that's a lot more than... Yeah, I know. I'm also serving baked potatoes with this. I figured it'd be nice for the salad today. That should do it. If it doesn't, well, we'll just get more out. There I go again, wetting my books up. I have a stand to put my books on. The problem is I don't have, if I do that, you can't be there. I have no place to put you except far over to the side. And then you can't see anything that I'm doing. That's how I did it at first. And I just said, well, I can't use my book, so it's my book stand, so I'll just do it a different way. You notice I'm approximating on all of this chopping. Oh, that's me. I've spent the last 3 to 4 days trying to remember that pattern of that motif I showed you that I did. Because I did that about 3 years ago. I never got the money to buy it. Had extra thread, and I've been trying to bring that pattern back up. And I said, because I just did that on a whim, like I did the one that's on the bed during the summer, and my cats tore one of the motifs up, and I said, well, I didn't write this pattern down, so I'm going to have to wing it and try to remember. So if I remember that pattern, I'm going to write that one down too. I never expected it to get torn, so I never expected to have to mend it, but my cats got a little excited. Okay, we're going to add a tablespoon of wheat germ to this. It will not affect the flavor, but it will give you the B vitamins that you need. You can use toasted or raw. Just 1 tablespoon will give you the 3 B's that you need for people who hate the taste of wheat flour. It's not that you hate the taste of wheat flour, it's that the society, if you eat brown flour, brown bread and stuff, that means you're poor. So people go out of their way. I want the purity and the white, but it's all psychological. Okay, we did that. We need 2 tablespoons of, I better put my dry ingredients in first. They want a pinch of nutmeg. I know what their pinches are. Okay, how much salt do you want? 1.5 teaspoons. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I'm going to be making salt today, so if you wish to watch me on how I make my salt, by all means come join me. I'll be doing it after I finish cooking, probably. Because I promised somebody I would do that because they really want to know how to do this. And for those of you who said, I don't have this equipment, Believe you me, I didn't either. I had to learn to make it work. They want a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Crushed. So I didn't either. It took years. I'm 72, so you can imagine how long it took me to collect a lot of this equipment. I slowly bought it, got the general things, and if you have a Betty Crocker cookbook, one of the old ones, they gave you a list of basic stuff in the kitchen to help you make just about everything. There'll be a few things that you have to buy throughout the year that you'll find that you need. But other than that, you can get that equipment. You got it made. Now remember, if you buy cheap equipment, it's going to break down in time and you're going to have to replace it. That's why it took me so long to get a lot of this. I knew that if I bought cheap, my husband would be back out putting money out for another one. Like one young lady I knew, she sat there and she bought those aluminum pans, did a turkey. She dropped it. She almost lost her foot. I scolded her so bad. And she said, no. I said, no, I don't want to hear this. I sat there and gave her some pans. I said, don't you ever do that again. She said, but I didn't have the money. No, your health is more important than doing that. 2 eggs. Oh, she saved her leg, but now she's got a permanent scar on it. But at least I know she'll not get burnt again because I gave her the pan for it. All right, where's my whisk? 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I'll probably do a second video for the sauce Maison, so it'll be following this one. So if you want to know what I put on it, it'll be right there. All right. Clean my mess up off my book. All right. 6 oval patties. Yeah, they're gonna make them look like steaks. Okay. Okay, that's what you want. That's all we need here. All we have to do is mix this all up. We're going to shape them oval like steaks. That's why we're going to do it. This is not for a hamburger, but he's using ground meat. That's why he called it that. You'll notice the meat is very, very moist. It's not real dry. If I want them dry, I would add more wheat germ, and that would dry them out. We get a lot of vitamins, but it also holds a lot of the moisture into the patties. Now I'm going to clean my mess up. I have to wait a bit because I have the baked potatoes in the oven and I have to bake those before I can cook this. So this is going on pause just until I clean up and the potatoes are done. And then we'll move to the broiler. But if you wish to grill these, they state put the grill, I think, on high. Hold on a minute. No, he doesn't state if you put it on a grill or you broil it. Broil, I know, is high, so I guess you would want to have the grill high because he would have the broiler on high. Okay, we're going to make these patties now. Makes only 6. Don't worry, I'll cut them back as I do them. Got one there. They want these in an oval shape, so they're sort of looking like a Salisbury steak. Okay, that's what we're actually doing. They're like a Salisbury steaks, but they don't call them Salisbury. I got 5 here. I might just make 5, but yeah, because 3, 4, 5, they could have 2 and I'll have 1. Yeah. I'm going to not make 6, but they say 6, but I'm going to make 5 because I won't eat 2, but I know my sons will eat. So, in a way, if you wish to call them a Salisbury steak, I guess we could get away with doing that, giving them that name. And now you know why they want the chuck. So when it cooks, the fat in it will keep it from drying out. And that's the whole object of that. These are really good. You know what I'll do in the summer? Make hamburgers out of them. Literally hamburgers out of them. Put some cheese and stuff on them and see what we come up with. But today, we're gonna have Salisbury steaks. So he calls it Hamburger Brennan. Anyway. So they're not going to cook long. So be careful you don't overcook these, because if you overcook them, you're going to lose all the flavor we put into them and they'll be cooked out. And that's not what you want. So we have to be very, very careful because you don't want to dry them out. Gee, the range top's going to be clean today. Broiler is going to be the only thing used. Now we're going to broil. Remember, you have to keep that door cracked. If you don't, the heat keeps on going up. And you don't want it to do that. This is how you control the temperature when you're broiling. Is this hot? Yeah, it's still hot. I had potatoes on it. Broil, start. It's already high because I did the potatoes at 450. And they're very close to the flame. This is why they will cook in a hurry. You notice how I push them further back? That's because, as you can see this way, because we have to leave the door ajar, if you put it too close to the edge here, they'll sit there and get too cold and not finish cooking. Now, if that really starts smoking, I'm going to have to open the window. I got the heat on. Let me clean this board now. So that's what we're doing. And I'm sure in 5 years on one side will be long enough. Sorry. Here I am cleaning. I'm actually clocking it right now. So we'll see how they come out. Now, for those of you who don't understand how an oven works, the broiler and the new ones, the heat is on the top, but when you bake, the heat is on the bottom. You have the old stoves, the broiler was down on the bottom in a whole separate compartment below the oven. They had a special drawer for broiling. My mother hated to broil. It was such a mess to clean up. I'll bring you over here. You can watch, like me, we're just watching it right now. Oh, I hope they come out really nice. turn the broiler on until you put the meat in. That's when you turn it on, you start clocking, because it's going to get so hot in there before you get in there. It burn it. One more minute, I'll turn it off. I always turn it off, take it out, turn them over, then I'll turn it back on. It gives it time to cool down. Start again so you don't burn it. So every time you have to flip it or something, turn it off and turn it back on for broil. You see? Now if I left it on, it'd keep on getting hot, so when I turn them over, they would burn on the other side. Don't, that cracked. That's hot. And you can see they're barely pink in the middle. Well, that one I flipped pretty good. The other ones I didn't do such a good job on. I got 2 of them done right. Okay. Put it back on broil and start and give them another 5 minutes. They should be very tender and moist, but not overcooked. You can already see that they're almost cooked because you saw a little bit of pink in the center. So it doesn't take that long. You just have to think about that, that's all. Because everybody cooks their meat, really overcooks it. I know when this isn't functioning and I'm stressed out, I will do it as well. I will overcook. Only because it's like my clock is off and I just can't function. That's usually because something has happened, especially to someone that I care about. It will. I mean, when my husband was sick, man, I could not cook for the life of me. I don't care how much I tried. He said, "What's wrong with you?" I told him nothing. I'm just having a bad day. It was because I was so worried. He did not know at the time of just how worried I was. 5 minutes to 17. Okay. All right, we're going to need, for the sauce, we're going to need a teaspoon of parsley. You know that's more, but anyway. You want it minced or chopped? You want this just chopped. Well, it seems I'm going to make the sauce while that's cooking, so it's all going to be on the same video. for the sauce in a small saucepan. Wait till you see the amount of butter. Okay, another 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce in a small saucepan. I have the parsley in here. Okay, I just put 2 tablespoons in and I'm doing what I'm doing. Worcestershire and parsley are here. Now they want three-fourths of a cup of butter. That is 1.5 sticks. I can hear you say, "Oh, that's cholesterol." 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this one, yeah, I know what you mean. The only thing left is to put the meat sauce in there. We're done with this now. We're going to put this on a low flame, very low flame, and start to melt the butter. And then the meat sauce, when we're done cooking those, we'll get the meat sauce and throw it in there too. That's pretty much it. You have to say it's an easy dish. They said we were going to have a 70-degree day, and I made a dish for a 70-degree day, and it ended up being a 50-degree day. I tell you. My son said, "Mommy, this is more for a hot day." I said, "Oh no," because they said it was going to be 70, and your brother wanted to make the dish. You know, anyway, what the heck. We're going to check these again. Let me bring you over here. Remember, the object is not to overcook these. Now, how does that look? I think I'm going to have to cook them just a little longer. I'm going to turn them over again. What am I doing? Open that door, Sandra. Turn them over again because they are showing they're not quite done. So we'll give them another 5 minutes. Let me get them in here. We'll give them another 5 minutes and we'll see how they come out. So I'll give you a break from me for 5 minutes and I will be back. Okay, here they are. That's them. So listen, I'm gonna put these over here and we're gonna finish up what we have over here. Just give me a minute. I've gotta think about how I'm gonna get this out. It's really hot. Because this is hot, I have to cool it down before I can even move. Okay, now what they want you to do is the liquid that came from the meat and stuff, all of this they want you to put in here. I guess if I was grilling I would have more, but I don't. And that will give its flavor. Hold on. And this we're going to heat up, mix it up. And this is what you pour over the steak. Okay, I know you're hot in there. That gives you about a cup to a cup and a half of liquid to pour over it. As it tastes, I have no idea. Unusual. You know, I always tell you to turn your handles this way. It's just that this oven's here, it gives me some problems. I'm going to cook that a bit, and then that's it. Okay, they're too hot. Just cooking it. Okay, let's see if I can pour this in here without making a mess. And that's what we're going to pour over it. And here it is. And there's the gravy. So we have this gravy to go over these. I'll serve a salad with it and a baked potato, a simple baked potato. I just think salt and pepper and butter this time instead of thinking of chives and bacon and sour cream or whatever else I can dig up to put into my baked potatoes. So listen, you take care. Bye-bye.